Our message affirmation this morning is, knowing the Christ within, I reflect my light to all others. And indeed, we do. We reflect our light to all others. And we alone have the opportunity to make that a bright, shining light or something far less than that. I usually wind up our Sunday message talking about how tomorrow's Monday, so when you get ready for work, when you look in the mirror, reaffirm this affirmation or say this to yourself. And so when we're thinking along those lines, when we look in the mirror, we do, we comb our hair, and if we wear cosmetics, we make sure everything's in place and perfect, and we see our reflection in the mirror, and then we leave and we go out in the world. But do we think about the reflection that we're making on other people? And that, of course, is a big thing in Unity. And New Thought is that we are to be expressions of the divine. So just as you would look in the mirror and make sure that everything is perfect and in place before you leave the house and begin your day, visualize every encounter that you have with every other person or every other circumstance or situation, and realize that you want to be just as perfect as you have made yourself in that reflection in the mirror. So when you come upon a situation, and the harsh reality is that we do, as much as we like to think that everybody else in the world is like-minded and everybody is positive and upbeat and they can see past the challenges and the trials and the tribulations, we know that we come across people who are mean and unkind and negative and may lash out at us. And maybe they're just having a bad day, a bad year, a bad life. You know, I'm sure we've all met somebody who just is like the epitome of the word cranky, and there's nothing you can do about it. But you have the option to always reflect the light within, because we know that Christ is with us and within us, and we know that we were created in the image of our Creator, the divine, to be divine beings. And what better way to express that than by, in every circumstance, in every situation, exhibiting this wonderful, wonderful light. When somebody says an unkind word to you, we can let it pass or reply with something kind. Just don't fall into that trap of that negativity or that unkindness or those untoward words. And we know that as human beings, that can be a challenge because we are human. If your hair goes out of the place, next time you're in front of the mirror, you can, brush it back and get it in place. But once you've said a foul word to somebody, that can be harder to pull back. I mean, it's not impossible. The word, I'm sorry, please forgive me, is an option. And as we talk about so often, we know that we're spiritual beings, but we're living a human existence. And that being the case, we are going to act human. From time to time, our humanness is going to get the better of us. And I know that a lot of times we can find ourselves in a place of fear over lack or limit or a health situation, or find ourselves in a challenging situation with a relative or a loved one, and we may lash out at somebody and we'll say something because it makes us feel better in that moment, just to let that anger out, let that ugliness out. But we know that that's not the true us, and especially those of us who consider ourselves New Thought students, we like to think that we run around and all we do is just spray rays of sunshine and happiness and good things to everybody. But then, we have to do a reality check. And there are times when our humanness does take hold. And I am, probably, I'll raise my hand, I'm the guiltiest person of that. As a lot of you know, I've mentioned I have a secular job outside of this, and there can be a lot of pressures in the business world, and you just sometimes feel like your back is against the wall. And like any animal, I mean, we basically are humans or mammals, when you're in a corner, you lash out. And rather than looking for that Christ within and reflecting that light, which I find I am getting better at. But there are some days that are really, really overwhelming when, the wolf is out the door and every phone you have is ringing and everybody needs something from you and you just feel so overwhelmed. And it seems like the answer is to push all these people away with negativity. If I'm going to use this negativity, everybody's going to run away from me and I'm going to have a few moments to recount and relapse and refigure out where I am. But the reality is, once that's out there, we've put that negativity out there. And that's not what we want to be. And that's not what we were created to be. By putting out kindness, by being a light to others, we actually indeed make our situation better. We create for ourselves, as we talk about so often, this life of great happiness and great health and great prosperity, because we know that's what our Creator intended for us. When we read in the scriptures, when we read about the life of Christ, the way shower, that it was his goal that we all live lives of greatness, great happiness and great health, and to do wonderful things. And Christ himself told us in the scriptures that all these wonderful things that he did, we will do, and more. We can do so much more. We need only center ourselves. And that is the biggest thought. That is the biggest part of New Thought and of unity and all these New Thought movements is controlling our mind and keeping it in a place where we are feeling positive and we're focusing on the positive. And the reality is, we're going to go through life, and there are going to be the hills and the valleys. And I know that people come to me sometimes for counseling when they're going through a really challenging time. And I use those words, and I know that it may sound patronizing because people think, well, you're fine. You've got all this. You don't have to worry about these things. But, I live a human existence like everybody else. And there are, payroll periods that I'm just sweating bullets, wondering if I'm going to make it through. Or, am I going to make the mortgage payment this month? Or, oh, God, I hope that's not a tow truck out there repossessing my car. We all go through these, well, not all of us, but a lot of us go through these challenges. I mean, I'm just as human as anybody else, and I consider myself not a New Thought leader, but a New Thought student, because I always have so much to learn. And I think that for all of us, when we do come to the understanding that the more we know, the more we realize how much we don't know, the better off we are. Because indeed, there's always so much to learn. And just when we think we've encountered every form of person and personality there is out there, somebody new will pop up, and some new personality pops up in your life. The benefit in this is that I can see and know as an example that this is what I don't want to be. And all of us should take away this. I don't want to be that person that other people have a conversation with and then walk away feeling worn out and exhausted. I want to be the person that people have a conversation with and walk away feeling lifted and optimistic and knowing that life is wonderful and a great adventure, even if at the moment it seems like there's not enough money in your checking account to take care of all your obligations, or, you're having a hard time getting out down the street because you're having a physical ailment, or, your family is a bit fractured because there's some broken relationship that it's being hard to heal. All of these things can be there, and yet we can still be whole and reflect our light to others, and then let that reflect back to us. So just as you look in the mirror in the morning when you're getting ready, when you're starting your day, when you're getting prepared to go out and meet the world, keep in mind that beautiful reflection that you've seen, because we're all beautiful. We're all a creation of God. We're all created in the image of God. Therefore, we are all perfect and we are all beautiful. And let what comes out of you resemble that beauty that you've just seen. And don't let yourself fall into these negative holes and patterns and little divots that do happen in life, because the reality is life happens. And as we've discussed before so many times, when bad things happen, it's never God's will. It's just things happen in life. That's it. God's will is that you live a life of great happiness and great health and great prosperity with wonderful, fulfilling, loving relationships. And we do that, and it all starts here. It all starts with our thinking, because we create the reality that we live in through the way that we see things, through the way that we think about things. So in all things, let your light reflect to others. One of my favorite sections of our responsive reading, when I print that out and give it to people, it's on the cover of the little printout, is the light which we hold to guide aright another's footsteps grows brighter and gives us greater vision. So know that indeed, when we are holding a light to shine for someone else, that is giving us more light and helping us to see better. So be that light unto others exactly as you envision yourself. Just when you look at yourself in the mirror, when you're getting ready to start your day and you're making sure that everything is perfect, let that be the reflection that other people see in you in every interaction with everybody. No matter how challenging, how difficult, how negative, how pessimistic, always be nice. And, there's that old saying, just kill them with kindness. Kill them with kindness. Of course, you don't want to be phony about it, because we don't want to be untrue. but we know that it's our innate, God-created inner light that we are good people. We are good. We are good. We all may, at one time or another, do something bad or wrong, but that doesn't make us bad people. We just went through a situation or circumstance that was bad, but we know that we are perfect. We are perfect, spiritual, and divine. So this week, the goal for the week and for all time is to be a reflection of the Christ within in every circumstance and in every situation. And not just the easy opportunities, but more so the challenging ones. It's easy to love the lovable. It's not so easy to love the unlovable. And that is where the challenge comes. And of course, these are the things that we, as being created in the image of the Divine One, have the power to do. We have the power to love the unlovable. We have the power to be all that we can be in every circumstance, in every situation, no matter how daunting or how dismaying it may be. We can lift and rise above because we know that indeed we have that Christ Spirit with us and within us. And the good news is that we are the beloved children of our divine Creator. Above and beyond all else, we are so loved in every circumstance and every situation. Even when you're at the bottom of the darkest of valleys, as we read in the Psalms, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you fear no evil, for thou art with me. So even when you're in the darkest of place, know that you are so loved. We are the beloved children of the divine Creator. We are filled with the light and love of Christ. And just as we can see our reflection in the mirror as we prepare our outer selves for the day ahead, we can see our reflection in the reaction of others to our Christ-like thoughts, words, and deeds. Just like when you look in the mirror and you see your hair out of place, you can put it back into place. If you see that somebody else is reacting to you in a negative way, that's a good indicator that maybe you're not being the Christ-like person that you should. And that's not always the case, because there are people out there that, like I say, they're just going to have a bad life, and there's nothing you can do about that. But you can continue to be you. You can continue to be the Christ-like individual that you were created to be in all circumstances and all situations, every day in every way. All right, I'd like to invite you now to join me in prayer. Eternal and loving God, we thank you so much for creating us in your divine image. We thank you for letting us be a light to all those we come across. We thank you, Lord, for letting this light shine in every circumstance and in every situation, regardless of how dark the valley may seem. We know that indeed you are walking with us and you are by our side. You are guiding us. You are directing us. You are blessing and protecting us in every circumstance and every situation. We thank you, beloved Father, in the name of faith, hope, and love. Amen.